This is the final challenge of this section, which is going to be escaping the maze of Reeborg's world. The link of this maze is provided in the resources of this video, or you can just access it from the drop down. Now in here, Reeborg has to escape a maze. The maze is going to be the same, but each time Reeborg is going to be having a random position and he will be facing a random direction. You can check the world info and that's what they tell you. And they also tell you that the secret is to have Reeborg following along the right edge of the maze, turning right if he can, going straight ahead if it can't, turn right or turning left as a last resort. So the secret is to make Reeborg move to the right side each time. If the right side is not clear, then it should check if the front is clear. If it is, then it should move forward. But if both of those conditions are false, then as a last resort, we have to move Reeborg to the left side. And if we perform each of these tasks in a while loop, Reeborg should successfully escape the maze each time. So I am going to be removing this jump function. Since this is a maze, we don't really need the jump function. And I will also remove the default code. So all we have is our while loop and we are checking if Reeborg is not at the goal. If it isn't, then we are going to perform some tasks. So first, like we saw, we have to check if the right of Reeborg is clear. If it is, then we will turn its direction to the right side and then make him move. So if right is clear, make sure to check the Reeborg's keyboard for spelling. So yes, that is the spelling of the function. If it is, then we are going to make Reeborg turn right and move. Then what we are going to do is, if the right is not clear, then the second option, as they told us in the world info, is to make Reeborg move forward if the front is clear. So we will check if this is false. So elif front is clear. So if this is false, then we have to check if the front is clear. If it is, then make Reeborg move. But if none of those cases work, then as a last resort in the else statement, we will just make Reeborg turn left, like so. So if I run the code, as you can see, Reeborg successfully escapes the maze all on its own. But we are not finished yet. I have provided for you a couple of worlds where Reeborg is at a certain position facing a certain direction. So if you go into the additional options and then select open world from file, then I would have provided you these three files. So problem world 2 and 3. So let's check the first problem world. As you can see, in this case, Reeborg is right over here and he is facing downwards. So if I run the code right now, you can probably tell by the amount of steps that this is going to be an infinite loop. Why? Because when Reeborg spawns right over here, he will check if the right is clear. The right is going to be clear, so he moves. Then he checks again, is the right clear? Yes, the right is going to be clear, so he will move again. Then once he moves, he is again going to check if the right is clear. So each of these times, the right will be clear forever until the program just stops because it exceeds the limited amount of steps, which is 1002. So how can we fix that? I want you to pause the video and really think about it. And if you cannot find a solution, then don't worry, this is a very hard problem to debug. But I would recommend that you spend at least 30 minutes trying to find the solution. And if you can't, then unpause the video and I will tell you the solution. So first, I will just pause this program right over here, and you can also check the other files as well to see each of those conditions. So we know that this is happening because each of these times when Reeborg is moving, the right is clear, so he is getting into a loop and moving in a square position, and that will not happen if Reeborg is not spawned in a clear position like this, where the right is always clear. So what we can do is, at the top, before we run this while loop, we can have another while loop, and we can check if Reeborg's front is clear, meaning if his front is clear, then we will make him move till the front is not clear, and then we will make him turn to the left side. So what this will do is it will get Reeborg to some corner where he is facing towards some other direction, and this will prevent Reeborg from going into an infinite loop. So what we can do is, if the front is clear, we will make Reeborg move till the front is not clear, and once it exits out of this while loop, we will make him turn left, like so. Now let's see the reasoning behind this. So like I said, Reeborg is going to see if the front is clear. If it is going to move. Then once it reaches some corner, like in this case right over here, we are going to make it face some other direction. So now after we do this, each time, it doesn't matter the world, Reeborg is going to be facing some direction or some corner where the right is not clear, which is going to prevent from Reeborg going into an infinite loop. So if I run the code now, as you can see, instead of 1,000 steps, the code has shrunk down to only 245, meaning this is probably not an infinite loop. So if I fast forward it, as you can see, by the end, Reeborg reaches the final step because he moved to the front and he faced to this wall direction, meaning he was in a corner and he did not go into an infinite loop like he was going before. So if we check for the other worlds as well, so the second problem world where he was facing this direction, as you can see, again, this is not an infinite loop. So if I fast forward it, you can see that Reeborg reaches the final position, and you can also check it for the third and the final problem world. And again, if I fast forward it, Reeborg reaches the final position. If you were able to debug this final solution all on your own, then congratulations, because this was a very hard problem to debug and it was not easy to figure out a solution that actually made sense. Now I'll see you in the next section.